All right, y'all. So let's get to it. What to say when you talk to yourself? How many of you talk to yourself besides me? Come on, be honest. Okay, we all do. By the way, 100% of us talk to ourselves, right? Uh, the question is, what do we say and how do we do that? I want you guys to. This is going to be a little bit of a worksheet, so I want you to just take out a piece of paper, and it's going to be kind of interesting as you go through this. As you guys know, mindset is a huge thing, and one of my favorite subjects because it's I can look back on all kinds of challenges throughout life and look at things that went wrong or things that I got upset about or things that, I complain about. And it always seems to be that that I am the one that's responsible for all of my suffering. And but only on certain occasions, like all of the time. So, I mean, that's all right. Yeah. All right. So here's what I want you guys to do. On your piece of paper, and some of you, this could be, you know, this could be really interesting. So I want you to write a list of people that you've complained about, right? I complain about blank because blank. Okay, so think about the people maybe that have hurt you or things like that. So let me give you just an example, and I'm gonna give it to you with my dog because it happened last night. So we've got a 13-year-old dog, so she's getting old, right? And last night she was rooting around. Anybody have dogs that just, I mean, scratching the bed, trying to make sure they're okay and all that kind of, yeah, right? But it happened every 30 minutes as we're trying to go to sleep. So it's just, so what would you wake up annoyed like me? Because I was, right? And I was going, what? Gosh, why is she doing it? Right. Okay. So what's interesting is I went through kind of this process with that because after about an hour and a half, I said, this is going to go on. And if I don't do something about it, I am not going to sleep tonight. Right. Anybody ever been in that situation where you're thinking about something and you don't say, okay, right. So I went through this process that we're going to go through. And finally, at 11 o'clock, I didn't hear her anymore. After listening to her for the past hour and a half to 2 hours, right, and waking up and being almost asleep, and then all of a sudden, ear shake, blah, I mean, right. So anyway, so we're gonna go through that, but we're gonna do it with actual people. So I want you to write down. I complain about Sue because she's always late for her appointment. I don't know, whatever it is, whatever it is. Could be kids, could be work related, could be friend, could be parents, could be kid. I mean, anybody complain about their kids, by the way, besides me too? Okay, good. All right, good. So yeah, Meredith's going, yeah, just a few times here and there. Okay. Could be sisters, brothers, whatever it is. I complain about blank because blank. And if anybody wants to give me an example, that'd be fantastic. Oh, yeah, go ahead. And then Dave will get yours.
Okay, so I complain about my husband when he doesn't wake up in the mornings. Like it's like a, hey, your alarm went off 3 times, like get up. And then I get annoyed. I complain about my kids for not cleaning up.
All right. So are you ready? So there's going to be a series of questions that I want to ask yourself and just go through, you can go through all of them with you, but here's the first one. And I want you to ask yourself, whatever it is, whatever you happen to put down, because if you said no, then obviously it's not an issue, right? But if you said yes, which everybody did, right? Then we can continue with the process, right? If you said no, then we move on to something else. Then, so you said yes. So your second question, okay, is can you absolutely know that it's true? Okay. Can you absolutely know that that's true? Susan's going like this. Meredith's going, yeah. All right. Okay. Whatever it is. All right. Ready for third question? So we have yeses on all of those on the first two for each thing. And here's the third one. How do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? What happens? What emotions arise when you believe that thought? What images of the past and future do you see when you believe that thought? How do you treat yourself and how do you treat others when you believe that thought? Think about that just for a second. Ooh, sure, this is exactly what that is. So is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? How do you react and what happens when you believe that thought? So you think about that. Who's controlling the thoughts?
Well, I am controlling the thoughts, but yeah, I'm controlling the thoughts. I'm in control of my thoughts.
Okay. Okay. So when you control your thoughts and you turn it around from that, does that change everything? Does it change the stress and the outlook of whatever the situation is?
because I can't change how she acts.
Nope.
I can't.
Do you have to?
I shouldn't have to.
What's the only one that you can control?
My thoughts.
Uh-oh, maybe it's me. Does that change? Guys, does this resonate, by the way, anything? I mean, this is anything that we approach. It's even so much as me with my dog, looking at my dog going, oh my God, she's so obnoxious. This is going to keep me awake all night to, huh? Right? Thinking about this process as we go through this. You think about all the pain and all of the times that you've been frustrated, angry, or something at somebody. And if you went through these 4 questions in those times, how does that change the entire process? Anybody have something that's going on with uh somebody that you're not even around with, but it just keeps popping up in your brain? You know, this person did that. This person did that. It came right. I mean, I can think of a lot of those with my kids. Right? Anybody think of that with their kids? My kid did this. I mean, Dave, you're talking about your kids that were in the business, right? And you think about that process, it's like, okay, when you have this blanket statement and you ask yourself, is it true? And if it's no, then okay, that's good. Then move on. But if it's yes, then you keep going. How do you know it's absolutely true? Is there a time in that process when that person or that thing, that your blanket statement is not necessarily true? And here's what's interesting. Are people like our perceptions of them all the time, 100% of the time, especially if it's negative? No, they're not, right? And then the other piece of that is, if we're going into a situation and we have the negative outlook or perception of that person, then how are we reacting and interacting with that person or that situation? Is it more us than them? Hmm. Hmm. Now, this is not easy. This is not an easy process to go through, because especially if it's something that's anchored deep, right? It's not an easy process. I can think of one. My stepfather's an asshole. Because he used to give he used to beat me with a belt every day when I was growing up. Well, if that's the thing that, by the way, it's a true statement that I used to have, right? Yeah, Meredith's going, but then here's the other piece of that. Is it true? Well, my initial response is yes, but is it absolutely true? Well, no, because it wasn't every day. Oh, well, wait a minute. Okay, if it wasn't every day, then how's that interaction true? Well, it's not. And if you keep getting into and going more, how do you turn that around? How do I react with that? Well, it tenses me up, and you do this. Well, what would it be without that thought? God, relaxing, and it's nice. It's great. And then you turn the statements around. Maybe I was the asshole. And you get to that, right? Well, if you look at the other piece of that too, was he always like that? No, no. I think back and going to the beach and going to Myrtle Beach and going to parks and going to all these kind of things and going hiking on the Appalachian Trail and doing all this kind of stuff. And it's like, God, huh? How about if I choose to remember those parts as opposed to the other ones? Right? Kind of interesting when you think about that. We are 100% responsible for our suffering, but only all of the time. You choose how to interact and act with everything.